Welcome to Bronyville. This is Bronyville episode 25, recorded on October 8th, 2011. I am your host, Cider. Hello, everyone. Great to have you listening on to the podcast. Great to have you here. Great that you were able to download this big ol' MP3. As usual, I want to also thank my super awesome co-host for showing up. Hey there, Chef Sandy.
Howdy, y'all.
Oh, boy, you're bringing it. You got any more Texas wisdom to drop on us right there?
No.
Okay, good.
I think that was the extent of my Texas.
Texas stops. We should stop the Texas. Too many things come out of Texas and affect the rest of us. Texas toast is good. Okay, she has a point. We will be okay as long as you just send Texas toast. Sometimes oil. Anyway, moving on forward from Texas toast, we do have a very special guest. We've talked about the creation that he has made before, just because we think that it is super awesome and, little known fact, Chef and I might be nerds. So we have with us on the show today Roger Marsh. Hello, Roger.
Hello. Hello, everyone.
And you're going to have to say this because I'm sure I might mangle your call sign, but what is that?
It's Giftkrieg 23.
Giftkrieg
and
23.
I admit it's not a very good name. I picked it on kind of a whim. I had been playing way too much Wolfenstein 3D at the time.
Like the old one or the new one?
Oh, no, the old one.
Oh, yeah. Guten Tag. Mein Leben. God, I play that game so much, too. So you were on a kick and you just went 23 of those.
Yes, exactly.
All right, super cool. And so explain a little bit why we have you on, because you created something we referenced a while back that we thought was just awesome.
Okay, well, I've taken it upon myself to write a module for the role-playing game Savage Worlds, and it's a game for none other than My Little Pony. And I've put a lot of work into it, and it's kind of the culmination of several months of work. And I've just finished my official test campaign that ran the entire summer. So,
and you've got all that listed. Like I guess you had some friends on, and it has it listed with all everything that you kind of did to run the campaign. So yeah, that's super cool. We'll actually talk about that a little bit more, just kind of like how the process of how you did it and how running the game went. Mm-hmm. But let's move on. We have 4 questions that we have to ask you first before we start the show. Very important. The first 2 are the easy ones. The second 2 take a little longer. First up, favorite character.
Oh, that's not an easy question. All right, well, I am going to avoid going with the coward's answer and saying, oh, they're all my favorite character. But, because it is true, I mean, they're all awesome. But if I was forced by Al-Qaeda to pick a favorite pony, it would have to be Twilight.
Woohoo! Wait, why is Al-Qaeda forcing you to pick Twilight? I don't know.
It's hypothetical.
Listen, we Twilight lovers are not that fanatic. We really do love Twilight, but not to the point of jihad.
Well, no. I've not been coerced into this answer at all.
Well, now you say that, and it sounds like you have been.
Yes. I will have to mention, though, that currently Applejack is my honorary favorite because she don't get no respect.
She needs more. She needs a lot more respect. She just needs the episode, man. Just one episode where everybody else is insane, and she's just like, will you calm down?
Yeah, so
I've got this in order.
That's my point. And just to make sure that no one else is offended, Rarity is my very, very, very close second.
Now you really are getting into the I love every single one of them territory. It's getting dangerous there. Okay, moving on. Favorite episode. Now, wait a second. You've got 2 here. What's going on?
I couldn't really decide between the 2. I'm terrible at following your directions. I have to pick Cutie Mark Chronicles as my favorite, just because I think it's the most enjoyable episode to watch. It's just got every character. They've each got their own arc. Each individual arc is awesome on its own, and with a little work could be its own episode, I think. Mm-hmm. But and it's all 6 of them crammed into one episode, and it's just the pacing is good. The story is awesome. I love the episode. It's just my favorite. I think it's the one I've rewatched the most. I list a dog and pony show also, just because I think that is one of the more important episodes. Because not only is it awesome and everything I've listed, but it's the episode where it's the rarity episode. It's where she gets like her character is squared away, and you get to see how awesome she actually really is.
All right. I mean, pretty much any Rarity fans, when they come in and be like, so what's your favorite episode? They're like, yeah, Dog and Pony Show. The dress episode's good, but yeah, Dog and Pony Show.
It is the episode that made her a good pony.
Well, she was good before, but I mean, like, I love Dragonshy, but her role in Dragonshy is pretty minimal, and she comes across as, like, especially vain in that episode, and Art of the Dress is awesome and everything, but it's that episode because because you get the message about, just because she's ladylike doesn't mean she's weak or incapable of defending herself or, being this kind of interesting character. So
yeah, all right.
So I think that's why I like that episode and had to mention it too.
Hey, no problem. All right. So why do you love the show? What's your slant for getting obsessed about these ponies?
Okay. Well, that's another kind of multi-part answer, unfortunately. I mean, like, I know everyone, I've listened to other people and they come on when they were asked this question, it's like, oh, the animation's awesome, the characters, the writing, and I'm going to acknowledge everything about the show is awesome, but the one thing that that really, like, touches me the most about this show, and I don't think is mentioned nearly enough, is that My Little Pony is really, it's a very pro-feminist show, and I was, like, flabbergasted at how good it was and how much it managed to convey that message. Like, as again, this is all honors and accolades in the world to Lauren Faust for doing this, because she pulled this off with it was just amazing. Mm-hmm. And it is, and she said as much on her blog and other such, or her online. And it's just the show. It's a show of 4 little girls with female characters, and they're strong, they're complete. They're not one-dimensional, and it's just fantastic, and it also kind of jars people because it's like wow, I like this really girly show, but it's actually really complete and awesome.
Yeah, it's pro-feminist with actually interesting characters and not beating you over the head with, like, we're going out to get cookies. It's not an entire episode of just like, my cookies don't taste good. My cookies have too many sweets. It's like they actually have some brain to it.
It's not Gen 3.5. Which we don't talk about.
We'll talk about what? Keep going. Moving on, because something was brought up that doesn't exist. What do others think of said love if they find out that you're into these things?
Oh, that was an interesting one, because I was patient zero for my area. I found this show and started watching it, and I showed the people who were living in my house at the time. And they got really into it, and it's really, I was actually kind of frightened at how quickly this show spread, to the point where now pretty much everyone I know around here is a big fan of this show. It's like our RPG group, they're all fans of the show. Like, everyone in our fencing club, we're all fans of the show, and it's just kind of, it's weird. So it's like I'm surrounded by other pony fans.
Well, that's cool. Yeah, being the patient zero can get you some scorn if you're not careful, because most of the people in my area either like, yeah, ponies, and the rest are like, freaking weirdos.
Yeah, that's kind of how, over here where I am, of just like, I'm setting up the meetup group. I had my first encounter with somebody that was like, I think this show's dumb, and I like Powerpuff Girls better, and it was my first time of having to be like, your opinion. Just have to just take it in stride. Whatever. So
Yeah,
we've had the occasional hater, but haters gonna hate. So.
Yep. Well, very cool. Thanks for being on our show. We're going to talk a little bit more about the game that you set up a little bit later and where every pony can find it. But first, we do have a super awesome sponsor that we want to bring up, just so everybody knows, every pony knows. And that's those great guys over at We Love Fine. They always are constantly dropping us new T-shirts. Looks like Epic Cupcake Time has gotten a little bit of love recently. And they're just expanding all the time. So if you want to get your pony Pony on. Totally go over there, drop in the code Bronyville 10. We'll give you 10% off of that t-shirt. You know, take care of postage a little bit. Get it to your house cheaper. And, Chef, we got a little special something we love fine, don't we?
Yes, we are the guest voters for one of the guest voters for the My Little Pony Fan Design Contest Season 2. Deadline to submit is the 16th of this month at 11:59 p.m. PST. And we did link this on the docs.
I'm a dork there, but you know what? I checked it out a little bit earlier, and I believe when I checked we had like over 600 designs in there. Not to dissuade you a little bit, but they have a ton of pony inside of there. But I think me and Chef have both looked through, and there's no definitive winner at this time.
Yeah, that is definitely true. There is certainly the share of those that perhaps should not use them as paint. There are plenty of good ones, but there's a lot of those that you have to sit back and go, really? Oh,
look, somebody put their OC pony in here. How cute. Next. Yeah, so definitely still an open run for that. So go ahead and submit. You could win yourself $3,000 if you win the whole contest. Or, us or Sithisto over there at Equestria Daily could choose yours. And you end up getting yourself 300 bones right there. So 300 bits. Let's use that. I like that better. Okay, well, we'll move on. So thanks to the We Love Fine guys for, helping us out. They even said they might give us a t-shirt at some point. So, moving on, news. It's been a crazy news week. I lie. It's been slow.
It really has been. There's just not a lot going on. It's just this little break that there's
calm before the storm, really.
It's calm before the storm. Season hasn't started in earnest. First real episode coming next week. Oh my gosh, only like 7 days to new pony.
Ooh,
as of this recording.
And I'm going to be in Atlanta then. I could go find some of my pony friends in Atlanta and go watch it with them. And it'll be Eastern time, so I won't have to get up super early, too.
I'm going to be out camping that weekend, so it'll be... No, wait. No, I will be in town
you're there the next one.
I will be out of town for the Luna episode. Oh, goodness.
I'll just come back and it'll just be like, Chef. It was so good. And unfortunately, they deleted it off the internet, so you can never watch it again. So, anyway, to continue on a little bit of the thread that you were talking about then, we have confirmation 100%. Guess what? It's on Comcast listings that, there you go, September or October 22nd, you're getting yourself your Luna episode titled Luna Eclipsed. So we talked a little bit about it last week, where you have Nightmare Night, and so yeah, all the people all you that wanted your Luna episodes, you're getting it. It's coming, and it's coming soon. I thought that they would have stacked this a little bit later into the season, but I guess they wanted that Halloween taken care of. So yeah, we got that. Moving on, go back to the doc. So we get a little bit of a celebration for our EQD. Ladies and gents, 50 million as of what was that, Thursday? They did it recently. Yeah,
50 million ill-gotten hits.
Oh, yes, for shame. No. Those cads. So yes, 50 million as posted at 1:57 on whatever day this was posted, because Blogger is kind of silly. But yes, Equestria Daily hit 50 million. I'm not good with numbers. Okay.
Math harder.
I just make cider. I don't do that. And finally, for the little news bits, just to give you a little update, because we love Lauren Foss, because she's created this crazy pony bandwagon that we all ride on the back of. She's working on a new project. This project is called Super Best Friends Forever, and it looks like it's just a whole bunch of animated shorts. Right now, from what we can see, we've got a little bit of information about Batgirl, Supergirl, and Wonder Girl. Low quality image shows Doom Patrol, But it's, I guess it is a bunch of shorts because it is in very, very differing styles. So, hey, go check it out. We know that she generates a lot of good stuff. So, more power to Lauren.
I'm not even a big fan of like superhero stuff, but I'm willing to give this a watch just because she's got her name tagged on it.
Yeah, it looks like she's doing primarily Supergirl, or at least, from the little shot here, which, could be interesting. I unfortunately don't pay as much attention to DC just because they have the lesser track record, I think, of the big two. A little bit silliness there. But, definitely would be something. I wonder, I hope, since it doesn't look like it's been picked up anywhere, I'm sure it'll be like on the WB if I had to guess. But yeah, super cool, fun stuff from Lauren Foss that might be coming out in the near future. Give a little pimping that way.
So, I think they should join forces with Brad Neely. They could do some really fantastic animation.
And just a reference, because my brain is all scatterized right now. What has he done?
He's done a lot of miscellaneous stuff. He's kind of famous for the George Washington and JFK kind of comedy rap videos.
Oh yeah, that guy. Yeah.
He's done a lot of this stuff, and he did like 8 or so 30-second animated shorts for Adult Swim, which were pretty fantastic.
Okay, that sounds like that'd be neat. Yeah, I'm just trying to put it together. You put Adult Swim, and all of a sudden my brain went, "Wait, Pony's on Adult Swim? Oh man, what would that be like?"
No, it's terrible.
It'd be like 150% more Pinkie Pie.
That's a direction I'd rather not.
All of a sudden, Seth MacFarlane and Zach Galifianakis show up on the show, and just it'd be crazy. Oh, Mike's falling on me. Okay, well, that's pretty much the news this week. It was a quiet one. It was, we got more craziness coming next week when we got the next episode coming out, where, I won't spoil what that's going to be. So let's move forward. Let's move on to our fanfic suggestions. Last week I asked for a whole bunch of cool fanfic suggestions from you guys, which is cool. I'm collecting a bit more of those, so if you want to send those across to us, you can totally do that at bronyville@gmail.com. But this week we're going to go ahead and do our suggestions, or at least, I'm not going to cheat and take your suggestions as mine. This week I decided to give myself a little task. I always love to find some of these background ponies that don't get as much attention and kind of toss them into the front light. And the one I've chosen is A Slightly Cruller Fate by Catalyst Delirious. And it follows it is a story about, Pony Joe. Pretty much what happens is Luna gets kind of sick and tired of dealing with a whole bunch of stuff, and just, fine, she's in the donut shop. And they just kind of, start talking, and a story kind of comes out of it. Only one chapter is up right now, but I thought it was pretty neat. I like seeing some of these more obscure, it's just like, wait, it's a pony with a donut for a mark. All right, fine, let's go with it. That sounds cool. So,
sounds like a good sitcom episode.
It's just like, I got donuts on me there.
What's the deal with donuts?
just
they're not nuts.
Everybody loves donuts. If anything has ever been taught to me by video games, it's that everybody loves donuts, especially if they're in the Explosion Man game. So, I suggest that one. Real quick one, real kind of short. I won't say, it's just a little tiny thing and it may get bigger, but I thought it was, it was a cute, nice, interesting little story. So, go ahead and check that one out. A Slightly Cruller Fate. And, Sandy, what you got?
Since last week I didn't have a story,
you cheated.
I cheated.
Shame.
This week I have 2. So my pick for If You Want to Be Sad is My Little Dashie by Rob Cakeran53. It's just sort of a one-off story where this guy finds a filly rainbow dash in the real world and raises her. Then it's it's like crazy, crappy world, and then this guy finds something that makes him really happy. I liked it. It's kind of sad in the end. And the second one I picked this week, which just was sort of randomly linked to me, was the Conversion Bureau Last Man Standing by Windchaser, which I'd read some of the fiction around that particular universe, and I hadn't read this one, but sat down and read it all in one sitting. It's sort of the last human on Earth after everyone else has been turned into pony.
Oh no!
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, part of the very long running Conversion Bureau series. But you said, yeah, it's just a little one shot. It sounds like probably jump into it quite easily.
So is it like post-apocalyptic or?
It's the whole Conversion Bureau world is sort of like on the verge of being apocalyptic. It's set in the semi-distant future where humanity is really just poisoned things beyond repair. AIs have taken all the programming jobs. Unemployment's like 40%, stuff like that. It's the world's going to crap, and then all of a sudden the ponies come in and are like, hey, you're starting to screw up our world too, so we have a way to fix it. Is sort of the basic gist of the story.
So that kind of plot kernel will either lead itself to Pony Takeover or The Matrix. That's just what it sounds like to me.
I am the spoon.
These are the only two possible options.
Yeah, I'm just imagining a whole bunch of people getting turned into ponies and then trying to figure out how to do things. It's just like, God damn scissors! Ah!
I'm an earth pony. I cannot into scissors.
Things have to be made specifically for me. I don't have wings or a horn. Unicorns get it so easy. Just like, I have everything I do. I just have a sparkly purple thing that does it for me. Pegasi could maybe do something with their wings, but earth ponies are just like, can I kick it and make it work? Is that need more things operated by kicking?
They do kind of go into that a little bit in the stories, but yeah, the earth ponies do kind of have the short end of the stick.
Yeah, it's just like, what are you? So you were a high-level executive. What are you? Or you were a skilled craftsman. What are you now? I now hit the buttons in an elevator. Thanks a lot, Conversion.
There's suddenly a great demand for like sticks for like dialing phones and poking buttons and such.
Learning how to write with your mouth.
Oh God, that would be so bad. What? I'm writing you a note.
Anyways,
yeah, look into it.
All right, well that works. So check those two out. My Little Dashie, which I understand, that one's been going crazy too. Of just like people are like, oh, I love that. It's so sad. Just every pony losing their mind. And the Conversion Bureau Last Man Standing. So, Roger, we have a suggestion. You have yours here, and I'm kind of curious because you've made a note, not a fanfic reader. So,
yeah, admittedly, I am not I do not partake in such. I do not read fan fiction.
He does not imbibe.
I just don't really. I don't really have the time or the inclination. But so instead, I thought in keeping with the subject of my interview, I would just like to suggest a very classic piece of comic book and animation called The Adventures of Tintin. If any of you have ever heard it before, or have not heard of it before, it's a comic. It's a comic that ran from the early or mid 20s to about the 50s. It's European, but you can find it in English. It's an absolute classic. I mean, I know some of our readers or the listeners out there have heard of it. It centers around the life of this reporter named Tintin and his dog Snowy, and it's been translated to English and in umpteen number of other languages, and it's kind of a comic about adventure and mystery. It's very like it's like a really kid friendly Indiana Jones, almost. The Tintin himself is I always find this kind of a interesting character because he's like the nicest, most mild mannered person ever. but God help you if you're one of the bad guys, because he will like punch, kick, or shoot you, like without even batting an eye.
Sometimes so all three. Ow! Ooh!
He's such like the archetypal like comic book hero. Like he's supposed to be this mild-mannered reporter, but at the same time he's like a crack shot and knows how to pilot a tank and fly planes and all this stuff. And the comics are awesome. The characters are great. The artist who wrote it, Hergé, has absolute attention for details. The comics are just gorgeous to look at. Especially you get the full color versions and everything. I have the whole series here on my bookshelf. And yes, if anyone's ever interested in reading a very cool comic book about have action, adventure, mystery, there's a little supernatural stuff that goes on, definitely check it out.
Supposedly, Starry Night over here used to watch the show. So
oh yeah, there's an animated version in English which is also pretty good. It's very true to the comics. So if you ever watch the show, it's almost scene by scene. It's a pretty good rendition.
All right, that works. That's cool. I've certainly heard of it. I've not had the time to imbibe, so we can work on that. So check that out. So moving on, it is topic time. We have raced through this show, so we've got a little bit of leeway to really kind of open it up here with Roger. So. So of course we've brought him on because we want to talk about tabletop and gaming, and his specialty is the fact that he has created a tabletop game for My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic. And when I think me and Chef heard about it, we went, how cool is that? How does that work? How do you it just kind of surprised us. So tell you what, let's do this. Let's start at the very beginning. So why did you decide to do this?
Okay, well, that's kind of an interesting story. So it started like, I had only been watching the show for about 2 weeks, and I think I had just finished like winter wrap-up or something, and I was kind of starting to get into the community. I was kind of low-key at that point, but I saw a piece of fan art. It was just this one picture, and it like absolutely floored me. And I for the life of me cannot remember the name of the artist. But the picture is, if you check out my DA profile and look at the module, it's the picture I've shamelessly cropped and used as the cover for the PDF document. But it was this picture, and it was like, I looked just like, wow, this is amazing. And it's to those who haven't seen it, just kind of describe it. It's a picture of Twilight and in the kind of like a jungle setting, and she's got this like action dynamic pose. It's really well painted and everything, but you can see the silhouettes of these kind of monsters on the edge of the picture. They kind of look like the Death Claws from Fallout 3. And she's got this determined face, the horns glowing. She's got like the molten remains of some manacles hanging off her leg, and Spike is kind of cowering behind one of her legs. And it's this great, like, it's so Frank Frazetta. It was awesome. And then like the name, and I had recently just been reading some other Savage World supplements, and it's just the name, like the Savage World of My Little Pony. It just kind of popped into my head, and like wow, that would be cool. And that was the entire genesis of it. I kind of sat down and I was like, I wonder if I could do this. And about a week later, I had like a really, really basic skeleton of a rule system, and it's been slowly building and building from there.
That's super cool. And I was kind of curious, I'll admit this real quick. I actually went, once I saw it, I thought that it was such an interesting idea, and it's not easy to find. I actually went and found on Amazon a used copy of the Savage World Explorer edition that you used.
Cool. And
actually purchased it just because I'm like, if I ever run this, I want it, I guess. But, from also reading your guide, it's like, oh, well, it sounds like it's also very self-functional in itself. You might not even, do you need the guidebook? You said you use Savage Worlds, and also kind of to add to that, why did you decide to use Savage Worlds?
Yeah. Yes, you do need the core rules. The module is pretty self-contained. If you had a really good working knowledge of Savage Worlds, I don't think you'd really need the book. But certain mechanics and stuff I didn't want to like waste time by just repeating them in the module, because it's a module. So yes, you do need the Savage Worlds Explorer edition, and they've actually just released a new version called the Deluxe Edition, and it's this cool big hardback copy. But if anyone's interested, the Savage Worlds Explorers Edition is what you're looking for. You can get it for like $10. It's a little paperback. It's fantastic. But yeah, I as you're saying, I picked Savage Worlds just because it's a system that I've had some familiarity with. I mean, I've played in or run like a Savage Worlds core game. I've played in the Savage World of Solomon Kane, which is another great setting. I've run Space 1889, which is a really kooky and awesome Savage World setting. That was a conversion of an older system. And yeah, it was a system I always liked it because it's a very robust, very like lean system. It's great for really story intensive, like fast paced, because it's supposed to be pulp. It's a game for pulp games. And while the show itself isn't really pulpy, I thought that was a great way to kind of bridge that gap between My Little Pony and something that would be good for a role playing game.
So it's a little bit faster. We're not, one thing that's always gotten me about D&D and games like that is that you'll spend, an hour and a half clearing out a room and just be like, all right, and you open the door and there's another room. It's like, oh god, we're never getting done with this. So it's very lean in that extent.
Yeah, I really appreciate the Savage World system just because it's such a lean, mean system. It's very minimal, but it's still pretty robust. It's probably one of the easiest systems to run and play in, so that's why I like it that way because it's nice and easy, great for running online. But yeah, that was the kind of thing. It was I quickly kind of envisioned it. It was like, well, how would My Little Pony translate? Like I immediately kind of threw out the idea of making a Dungeons and Dragons conversion because even though I love Dungeons and Dragons, and especially 4th edition, It didn't really gel with the idea just because it was like D&D is about going out and defeating monsters and getting your fat loot, and you get this kind of incremental character advancement. It's like, oh yeah, I gotta get to the next level and get this power or this new weapons and such. And it was like I thought about that and like it doesn't really gel with the message of the show or how the show would like kind of conducted itself.
Just it doesn't make much sense for Twilight to be like, I'm rolling for purples right now. Let's see, let's see. I just need a few more mats to make my broadsword of
because
badness.
That's totally how D&D works, AC.
I have no clue. Okay, I played like a little bit of D&D. Okay, yeah. So Chef here is a little bit more of the tabletop aficionado, so I might step back just a little bit to have him have a little bit of under the not covered under the hood look at kind of how the game works. So would you have anything there, Cheffers?
I mean, my gaming experience is largely with D&D 3.5 and 4 and Shadowrun. So as somebody who's played Shadowrun and D6 system, is that similar to Savage World? Because I've honestly not played it.
Oh, Shadowrun is definitely one of the more complex RPGs out there. I really like the setting, but the system is just, in my opinion, is a horrible mess. Like every edition has managed to improve it slightly. Even the newest 4th edition of Shadowrun is just bogged down in complications and other such. And so, yeah, Savage Worlds is like it's like the light refreshment, whereas something like Shadowrun or 3.5 is your main course.
Okay, because I admit I love Shadowrun, but I do have to have the GM's pile of books on the table whenever I want to buy anything.
Yeah. Savage Worlds emphasizes is like fast pace and speed over getting bogged down in technicalities. They pretty much give the GM carte blanche to do whatever they want most of the time. And the same thing, it's less like D&D, and that D&D has the kind of very strict level system, whereas in Savage Worlds there's like four ranks, which are close, kind of your level, but advancement is just kind of extra icing on the cake. Like a beginning character is very competent on their own, and the difference between like a novice character and a veteran or a heroic character is relatively small, actually.
Okay.
So it's the game's meant to be. It's meant to emphasize the kind of action and theatrics more than it really is about sitting there and number crunching.
That's good, because I know 4th edition can bog down and take forever.
Yeah, I played a little bit of that, and it was just like, wait, which spell should I use? The guy is okay. He's six blocks away, so you can't use that ability. Oh god.
I do love 4th edition, and but yeah, it's Savage Worlds is an entirely different beast. And it was the same kind of thing. I picked it also. It's like kind of partially ironic, just the idea that Savage Worlds is like kind of a pulp game. So all the settings are like 1920s gangland, Chicago, or kind of Flash Gordon, that kind of thing. So it was just kind of funny. Like imagining, what would My Little Pony be as a pulp in a pulp genre? I found that kind of entertaining, and had fun adapting that. So
sounds like we have a venue for Al Capone. Be able to bring him back up. Well, see, we got to go down to Ponyville, huh?
Well, yeah. The main thing that I went for when I was designing the game is I pretty clearly very very early on said this I'm going to make this game is going to be non-violent, because every other RPG, especially D&D, it's about killing monsters. You get magic armor, magic weapons, and that's all well and fine on its own. But that's stuff that doesn't really appear in the show. And it felt really it would feel really out of place to me, and kind of tiresome. So it's like this show's about it's My Little Pony. It's not about going out and getting experience points and gold. But so the system is written. I made several tweaks to the basic Savage Worlds system so that I've essentially reflavored combat so that it's not direct physical combat. I've made it's kind of theatrics instead.
So it's kind of like similar to Dragon Shy, where they're not exactly like actually fighting the dragon. It's just like Rainbow Dash knocks him upside the chin a little bit and goes, she hit me. It's a little. If any actual contact is made, it's minimal.
Yeah, though that's exactly that. That was exactly the episode. After watching that, I was like, oh yeah, I could totally do this. And the idea was that combat is just mechanics. It's just the way certain numbers and rules interact. And there's no reason you couldn't flavor that as like the whole altercation with in Dragon Shy, where they confront the dragon. That was kind of inspiration. So instead of like in Savage Worlds, the skill you use to fight, use weapons such as your fighting skill. But I adapted it so use different skills to do something that's mechanically similar to attacking and defending, but in the presentation in the game when the players are interacting, it's talking and brinksmanship and bluffing and other such. So it really puts there's a little bit of a burden on the GM and the players to make it work. But as I said, running this game it lasted 17 sessions, all summer. And my players did an absolutely fantastic job of it, and it turned out even better than I thought. It's just, there's even a rule that's very explicitly stated that if you resort to violence in any capacity, you will gain no experience at all. So it's the idea it's because they show it in the show, like Rarity kicks the Manticore in the face and is immediately punished for it. Rainbow Dash kicks the dragon in the face. There's a lot of face kicking. Basically, and it's shown in the show. It's like that didn't work. That was pointless. And they end up, the one that takes down the dragon, which is like the biggest, nastiest creature around, is Fluttershy yelling at it.
That makes some good sense there. That's I can't argue against that too much. I always find the systems that kind of don't rely as much on combat being really intriguing. There was one that I really enjoyed, which was like the Iron Claw system. I have a habit of collecting RPG books and then never actually playing them, because I'm like, I sure would like to find somebody that plays this, and then never finding anyone. And I thought that was a really interesting system, because if you really wanted to, you could create in that system, and I'm sure you could probably do it in this one, somebody that is completely non-competitive. Their entire abilities would have been, I'm a great accountant and leader. I have a whole bunch of cronies around me who are my hired thugs that do stuff for me. Meanwhile, I do all the business work, and sit back whenever anything bad happens. So It sounds like that you could very well have a pony that their entire thing is like, I'm just a tax guy for Celestia. What did I just get roped into?
Oh yeah, it's exactly. And since Savage Worlds has a minimum of skills, I think there's like 15, and they're pretty general. So in characters, no matter what character concept you come up with, you're pretty much guaranteed that you can do something in the kind of quote unquote combat situation. It's basically there's 4 skills I kind of modified into something you can use in combat, and I called them speech and swagger and grace and this kind of thing. And so rules tell you want to kind of flavor what you're doing. So an example was like I was thinking of is when they fight the Manicore. They encountered the Manicore in the first episode or second episode. And they don't really fight it, and Rainbow Dash manages to confuse it for a little bit by flying around it really fast. And it's those kind of things. I've interpreted that's what combat represents in this game. Okay. Yeah, so in the game I ran, players would defeat enemies with harsh insults, or do the kind of like pirate movie thing, or dodge lightly out of the way with a well-timed insult, and they go flying past you and in a heap on the floor.
Take that, you ne'er-do-well.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
Now, I think I have 2 little more things that I have. One, so we know that out there's tons of ponies that enjoy a little bit more grimmer and a little bit more darker things. Is there any way that they could take the system and incorporate those? Or I also know that there is like a D&D system that might fit them a little bit better, but would they have that option with the system at all? Well, technically, yes. I mean, if they could play it closer to the book with Savage Worlds, but I don't recommend it. I mean, the part of the whole thing, a lot of the work that went into this system was removing the kind of violent aspect from Savage Worlds. And I remember there's no longer a system of wounds, which is how you tracked injuries in Savage Worlds, and they've been replaced with, I just called them daunts, as you've been daunted. And the idea was that when you defeat their character, it's not that you've literally killed them; it's that you've made them like sad enough or frustrated enough that they'll either give up or they just can't do anything. So that's the idea. So I guess people could do that. I wouldn't recommend it. Again, I guess that's the thing for some people, but yeah, not for me. It's like Grimdark is certainly the thing for some people, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, so that's the thing. It's like I'm in a Dungeons and Dragons Eberron game, and it's dark, it's film noir, morally ambiguous, kind of gray area, and that's fine where it is. But like, if I'm playing a My Little Pony game, I want it to be like fun and optimistic and like adventure and action and that kind of thing, and not dark and grim and violent, because I don't think those things have any place in the show, honestly.
Yeah, definitely. I'm not a huge fan. It doesn't. The grimdark, just my opinion, and I've said it before and had people get upset about it, is that I don't think grimdark and ponies mix.
How dare you, Chef?
Yeah.
How dare you, Chef? All right.
I will step in and defend you, Chef, just because I got to say, if I can go on a rant for a few seconds.
Do it. We love these.
That's kind of my thing about it. It's that, like, I think people, they get the idea to see My Little Pony. It's, okay, I'm an adult. I've got to put like adult themes in this show. It's got to be violent or sexual or dark and stuff. And like, it's like that. Like, why? What? This show is cool and unique because it's like it doesn't really touch on those things. It's an awesome show on its own, and it's like optimistic and happy and fun. And it's like I just don't understand the need to like inject violence and really dark elements into it. I mean, because the show's kind of melancholy sometimes, a little sad, and there's some issues that go on, but it's not like, that's my thing. So I wanted the game to reflect that. So yeah, that's my 2 bits about it.
All right, that works. So let's go a little bit into the campaign that you ran. What exactly you ran from, and it sounds like it's all kind of wrapped up at this point. So just give us a little bit of lowdown, who played it, you obviously ran it, kind of the basis of the story and where everybody could find it.
Okay, well, it's on my DeviantArt profile, just like the actual module. I've been a little bit behind updating it. The game's actually ended. and I've been posting the transcripts from each session, and I edit them just for clarity and spelling mistakes and such. So soon enough, I'll have the last 3 episodes uploaded. It's just going to take me a little bit because they do take a while to edit. But basically, I ran a full length campaign. It took the characters from novice level to veteran level. For people who played Savage Worlds, that means a little bit more, but it was a significant amount of character development. And it was I originally had 5 players. I had 2 players at some point dropped through various reasons, and I had added 1. So the game ended with 4. And only 3 of the original ones, but it was it was an absolute blast. That game was amazing. I couldn't have asked for a better group. I love my RPG group here at my little college community, but the group I got online, it was fantastic. It was one of the favorite games I've ever run or played in, and I definitely found the right people to do it. But the game itself, it was called For Ride Forth. And it was a kind of a cool action adventure that had a little apocalyptic kind of background to it, but it ended up being a lot of fun. It was very Hobbit-like. I mean, the players go out and to do this kind of grand quest, and it's all about their development and them encountering the outside world and kind of changing as a result of that. And they eventually come back, and they come back to Equestria and then see how much has changed, how much they've changed, and it ended up being very cool. So
they had the greatest adventure. Is that?
Yeah,
a terrible little song. Yeah, that sounds cool. I would love to get in on something like this. And what was the? You said that you did it online. What's your program of choice for tabletop online?
Well, we ran it on IRC. Because I'll get a little bit more about that when I mention my cool thing. But we used IRC and we had Skype running simultaneously, so we could have out of game chat on video, or sorry, not video, on audio. So we could wisecrack and strategize and talk about the game, and everything that went on in IRC was in game. So and then when we were done, I could just copy paste transcript and then later come back and edit it and post it up.
Okay, that works. Hey, Chef, you got anything else that we can think up? Quiz this guy to death? Trying to think.
I'm good to go.
You're tapped. Let's see. Talked about that. We talked about the game. Any future plans? Any second editions?
Oh, yeah. So that's the big one. I've been pulling like a rarity and working nonstop. I tried desperately to get the newest revision out in time for this recording, but I failed. I'm so very close. I need another 2 hours of work, and it'll be ready to post up. So as soon as I'm done with this interview here, I'm going to work like mad to finish it. So anyone who's listening to this, probably by the time it's aired, it'll be ready and uploaded on my DeviantArt. And I've made it's a big revision over what you've seen on my site. And a lot of all these rule fixes and stuff that I encountered as bugs and problems from running that game, I've incorporated. It's got a lot more character options. I've improved pretty much everything, I think. So look for, if you look at my DeviantArt profile, look for the Savage Worlds of My Little Pony Provisional Edition. But and the other major element is you're asking about future plans.
Sure.
That since this campaign finished last Wednesday, I was very sad to see it go. But I do have upcoming. I do have plans for it in about a month or so. Just once kind of midterms have cleared up and a couple other things in my schedule have cleared up, I will be starting something I've called the Living Campaign. And what it is it's going to be a campaign I will be able to run. And pretty much anyone that gets approval from me can play in it. It's going to be a series of one and two shot little games. They'll each have their own kind of encapsulated story arc, and they're all tied together to kind of a central storyline that's going. And I'm looking for 20 or so players, and about 4 or 5 can play at any one time. And so as it goes, I'll have a module for people to play, like a one-shot game. Some people sign up for it, and then I'll run the same module later so different people can play it. And you keep your character as you go, and depending, the more modules you play, and you get more experience.
Ooh, Chef, that sounds like we could play.
Oh yes, you're by all means.
We could play with some fans. That'd be fun. Or however we do it, that could be interesting. It just requires finding some time amongst our craziness.
Yeah,
yeah, that sounds awesome. I would be totally for some pony dice rolling. I'd actually have to get dice. We
would use an online dice roller. There's ways to do that. The main it would just be I'll make an official announcement for it, but it would be send me an email, tell me what your character is, and a few things about your background in it, and just agree to my terms and rules, and you're signed up and ready to go.
By the way, Apple Cider's secretly an alicorn, and he has the power of the cosmos.
Absolutely not.
Why does nobody like my history?
That's one of the things I appreciate about playing role-playing games, and especially tabletop ones, is that you make your character, and your character is bounded by the rules of the game. You have limitations and such. You cannot make an alicorn character. I thought about that for approximately 5 seconds, and then I'm like, no, that's a bad idea. So it kind of playing like in a tabletop RPG like this. I like it because it's a little more self-regulating. It kind of avoids some of the excesses that like fan fiction kind of falls prey to sometimes.
Fan fiction or unregulated RP communities.
Yeah, that's that. Just for anyone who's listening, that's not what this game's about. This is a traditional pen and paper RPG, just My Little Pony.
All right.
It's fun. You should check it out.
Sounds good. So we can expect in the future that you're going to have the newer vision. We can expect monster manuals 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. The compendium of Arcanum and everything else to come afterwards. And then this spiraling into a multi-billion-dollar campaign of Pony. I'm sure.
That would be awesome. But right now it's just a single PDF, and there's a little bestiary crammed into the back. So it's like if you need stats for just like if you need like a diamond dog, here are their stats here, that kind of thing.
Parasprite Swarm.
I don't think there needs to be an arcane compendium. There's already way too many spells in this game as it is. I think I counted there's 38 available, plus an additional 6 cantrips, which are little basic spells. Mm-hmm. So as a unicorn, you have a lot of choices.
Well, one thing I did while I was reading was, and we were poking at it a little earlier, but, it's just like, oh, well, unicorns have everything, and, they can do all these spells, and Pegasus, they can fly, and they have all these abilities to kind of move, and they have extra movement options. So, yeah, let's get down to this. What do earth ponies have? How'd you get around that?
That was a pretty key issue that I worked very hard to work around. Is that they don't have anything as flashy. 1 second. Sorry, I didn't want to cough into your microphone.
Hey, no problem.
But basically, what it is they didn't have anything as flashy as magic or wings. But earth ponies have a tremendous mechanical advantage, and they have access to a lot of abilities and stuff that just make them. They have a lot of awesome stuff available to them. So it's more about the player, how they want to flavor their character. But Pegasi or unicorns have lots of restrictions. They have their own weaknesses. Earth ponies are just completely solid. You can do anything with earth ponies.
Do you hear that, Chef? We have flavor.
Yeah, damn straight. I added a little mechanic to the Savage World system called feat, and that you as Pegasi you can get the feats of daring, and as earth ponies you get the feats of strength, which is of course a Seinfeld reference. But they're pseudo magical abilities. They're supposed to be if you need to, you can pull off this kind of miraculous stunt. So like that's how Pegasi can do stuff like fly with a rainbow behind them, or create weather, or do something like that. And earth ponies can kick down a wall or do that kind of thing. So they've got some access to some magic-like abilities, and it's just more like. I want to do something awesome, and I'm going to go kick through this stone wall, just kind of Kool-Aid man my way through. And you can do it.
Kool-Aid. And you have to think, yes, Pinky is an earth pony, so all the craziness that she can do is probably in line with a whole bunch of the just insane feats that pop up.
Yeah, that's the one thing.
The weed
Yes, I have all the main characters statted out. They're mostly just for reference. It's just like, you know what Pinkie Pie is like. Here's what her stats would look like. So if you wanted to build something similar to some aspect of that, you can look at it. And yeah, I've made some stuff that if you want to tailor your character, that kind of thing.
I'm sure with season 2 coming out, there's going to be additional rule changes that'll happen if, there's some new craziness that, one of the ponies does it just like, oh, that sounds really good. Let me just tack that in real quick.
I'm probably going to wait a bit before I add anything significant, but it's written so that it's not bounded just by season 1. You can run this game to be really any setting or time period you want.
I ran it during the reign of Alicorn Twilight, and however. So, yeah, that's super cool. I suggest anybody that, likes doing some tabletops and wants to get in on it. Yeah, I'd love to not only play it, but hear from some people who have run a campaign. I would love to see a community pop up of, people who jump in there and start doing some pony tabletop, and all the stories and games come along. We've got video games, we've got, all these other fun stuff. Let's get some tabletop groups out there,
And that's the one I have seen other people make systems for it, but before. But I don't think not to toot my own horn here, but I don't think they've gotten to. My system is pretty polished and complete. Mm-hmm. A lot of people they've made their own systems from the ground up, which is it's deceptively difficult. Writing an RPG system is an art in and of itself, because you have to be able to account for every possible loophole and stupid little trick that your players could pull, and while at the same time making the game varied and fun and kind of dynamic. But at the same time, you have to kind of prepare for the people who are going to power a game or do silly things and try to break your game, which helps. Like one of my players is an avowed game breaker, and that he'll do whatever he can to kind of make a mockery of the rules that I've written, and his input has been exceedingly helpful in writing a revision, because he's exposed every people by playing the game. They expose every little weakness of what you've written and how you can fix it.
Mm-hmm. That's
very cool.
That was one of the other reasons I use Savage Worlds, because it's like I could write my own system for it, but this is experimental enough as it is, and I like Savage Worlds, so why not just write a module instead of starting from the beginning and all, because it's a big headache.
Yeah. Well, I say any pony out there interested in it should totally do it. I already just came up with a name. My Little Pony Friendship is Magic Missile. So you could totally run that along. That could be pretty fun. And if Chef doesn't have anything else, I think that will probably do for our little chat on the system. Anything there, Chef?
I'm pretty good.
All right, let's do this. Let's move on. Thank you, Roger, for that. Mm-hmm. And to wrap us up, back this up. We've got email. Look at that. I'm skipping past thing. This whole shuffle's just making me all discombobulated. I think also Bill watching college football and putting together a table kind of helped too. So we've got our really awesome fans who always love the emails you guys send across to us, and you can always send those to us at bronyville@gmail.com. Just label across to them. The smaller you make them, the easier it is for us to put them on the show, by the way. So if we want to do this, as usual, I will go first, Chef second. If our guest would be interested in taking every third one, that would be great. Sound good there?
Sounds good.
Okay, let's move on. I've got a big one to start off with. This one starting by Element of Chaos. I'm just going to get this out of the way. Every pony is best pony. I refuse to play the X is best pony thing. They are all awesome. Deal with it. The main six are my top favorites, of course, if only because they are the most developed. That being said, Octavia's best background minor character, 20% classier.
Oh, come on.
Everybody knows Vinyl Scratch's best background pony. Every pony knows Vinyl Scratch's best background pony. Moving on, I'm writing in to say that I really love this podcast. The guests are always cool. Chef and Cider are real pros, and all the segments are interesting. Insert more fanboying here. Stick out tongue face. I can't wait for the rest of season 2, not only to enjoy it myself, but also because I'm looking forward to you two and the guests geeking out of all the pony. From what we know, episode 3 sounds like a story I was expecting to see. Twilight panics over not having a new lesson about friendship to send to Celestia. So I really look forward to episode 4 with Nightmare Night and Luna. However they characterize her, I know they'll do a good job. I've read various fics with Luna in them and won't be disappointed if Luna doesn't turn out like the usual interpretations. By the way, perfect name for Pony Halloween, yes or yes? I'll vote with yes.
I'm going to have to go with the other yes.
Okay.
To be contrary.
You have only one option.
Dag you, contrarian, yes. Let's see, I have some questions for Cider Chef and possibly the guests if they want to answer them. I hope nobody has asked these already. So let's go through these. 1. If you ended up in the pony universe, especially Equestria/Ponyville, and were transformed into ponies, of course, what would you do first? Probably freak out.
I'd go get a horse with no name.
Would you walk
be out on the range?
Walk through the desert with it?
Yeah, I think so. It seemed like a pretty logical course of action.
It's great to be out of the rain. Desert. Okay, let's stop this.
Goodness. Yeah, the freak out sounds like a good idea. It's like you're like, okay, you have to figure out how to walk again. Then you have all this learning curve that you got to deal with.
Scissors, man. You can't use scissors unless you're a unicorn. That'd just be weird. Like
honestly, I also think it'd be pretty jarring. I'm like, well, my fate's decided for me. All that 20 or so years of self-discovery that I've been going through, all now meaningless.
I'm now imagining like all of the setup that it would take to put all these computers together and record the show. Doing it with just 2 fists pressed together to push everything together. That would be insane. Like, no.
You just like duct tape a stick to the end of it and kind of poke.
Just poke everything in. I tell you, engineers would go crazy. They'd be like, I have so much work to do.
Ergonomic dialing wands for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
You'd have to make plus-size keyboards so you can type on the pony nets.
I think after about 2 weeks, I'd get used to it, but it would be plenty enough freak-outs and just like, if it was Ponyville proper, like the amount of insanity that happens there, like I could imagine the Equestria whole is probably being a little bit more sane, but just like what's going on? Oh, a giant space bear is crashing through town. What? I just lose my brain.
It's a savage world, all right.
There's a space. Why are there space bears? Just. There shouldn't be space bears. Yeah, it'd just be a whole bunch of freakouts. Second, do you think we'll see the elements of harmony again this season? I'm going to say, unless it's the very last episode, I'm going to say no.
Yeah. They are MacGuffins, and as MacGuffins, they have served their purpose thus far. And unless they need to suddenly bust out the Power Rangers magic, probably won't see it again.
As a GM, I'm definitely an abuser of MacGuffins, but yes, they do have their time and place. I highly doubt they're going to pop up again, at least in the main season. Do you have the elements of harmony listed out in your guide too? In the first edition, yes, and I removed them in the new revision because I realized they were kind of like I thought about it and then wait, why did I put these in here again? I mean, they're pretty exclusive to the main characters, and so it felt too OC, almost like my character has element of friendship or whatever, and it's like, huh? It's like, no, your character should be unique and interesting, and not ripping off of the main characters. So if you do look back, if you do still have a copy of the old revision, just ignore that. That was something I put and then didn't think about for a long time, and then came back when I was rewriting it, and then this is stupid. You just got your rules taken away from you. Oh, how was the element of drunkenness? I always have good times at parties and find uses for lampshades. So, yeah.
If you were an element of harmony, AC, that would be yours.
Yay! Okay, moving onwards. Who is the cutest pony that isn't Fluttershy, but is in the show either main or background? Cutest. You know what? Cutest.
Apple Bloom.
Oh, that's a really good one. You know, any of the Cutie Mark Crusaders are really good choices. Well, Scootaloo a little bit less, but I like her just because she's awesome.
Oh, yeah. Well, for lack of a better answer, I will choose the Cutie Mark Crusader Hive Mind, just because they are like I like really was indifferent to them at first, but it's like they've really grown on me. I think they're pretty funny, and I like their inclusion in the show. So yeah, they're pretty cute and funny and all. So.
See, now I'm starting to pull it apart of like, are we talking like cute as in like, oh, she's cute, or cute as like, hey, I find her cute, or you know, I'm having to kind of pull this all apart. If I'm just going for base cute, you know, I'm citing Pinkie Pie.
I would say cute in the fact that they're not competent and kind of dim-witted and innocent and like
Pinkie Pie during that scene where she's hiccuping and laughing. There's no way you can't just say, you know, just that is just like, okay, that's ridiculous. I really appreciate that. So that's my mine on that. Let's see. Third question. Signed Element of Chaos. P.S. Believe it or not, my username came before we even knew of Discord's existence. I swear my account on everypony.com has a join date of June 29th. Now I have the occasional nickname of Discord. Then confound it all.
See, I can give some moral support to this guy because I was into Discord before it was never cool. Never mind. Because years ago, I was big into Discordianism, which if people haven't heard of it, it's the fake religion that kind of pops up over. There's a series of books and games that all involve the Illuminati, but it all kind of revolves around this book, which does actually exist, called the Principia Discordia, and it's kind of like a counterculture. Absurdist Zen Buddhism book that everyone should totally check out because you can find it for free online. And if you want to read more about like what Discord is really like, check it out.
Absurdist Zen Buddhism. That's a
Zen Buddhism. Yeah.
I'm like, Now I'm having to put that together of just like, all right, let us all meditate here while we listen to hard rock. You know,
the Principia Discordia is this weird, really random book. It's one of those things. It's not so much a reading experience as just an experience. But it's all about Eris, the goddess of discord, and that was when I saw the description for the first episodes, I was like, oh sweet, like I wonder if like vainly hoping there might be a Discordianism reference thrown in, but yeah, no such luck.
So it sounds like you guys would make real big fun with the Pastafarians. So,
it's in the same vein as Pastafarianism, but the Discordian joke has been around since the 70s.
Oh, okay.
It's an old one.
Oh,
but yeah, as I said, like just on a totally side note, everyone should read the Principia Discordia because it is hilarious and weird.
All right, cool deal. And let's see, last little bit here, PPS. As some pony who writes fics, my main goal is to write a fic that will not only could make it on Equestria Daily, but also impress one of you enough to get a recommendation. If only I could think of something interesting. I am planning a Doctor Who crossover using an idea I haven't seen in an FIM/Who crossover yet, so it should be fun. Yeah, go for it. Doctor Who's stuff is fun. I always say just do I really suggest try a normal fic. I love episode fics. If you can make a one-shot 15-page story that is just normal, plays like you would read an episode, I love those. Love them. So that would be my suggestion. All right, Sheffers, that was a big one of me talking, so now it's your turn.
All right. Dear Apple Sandy and Chef Cider.
Hey.
This is weird. Wait a minute.
That's Discordian.
Thank you for doing what you two do. There's nothing better than zoning out with your podcast when I can escape my studying. I'd like to submit a question for your thoughtful ponies in hopes of getting a reasoned discussion from you on a somewhat controversial topic. Uh-oh. I have heard the opinion expressed in a few places, Tumblr particularly as well as Ponychan, that Derpy is a mockery of the mentally handicapped, and as evidence of some of the fan art is referenced, where she's shown as stupid and muffin-obsessed. People say that for this reason we should not characterize her at all, nor call her Derpy hooves. I don't believe this, and I'm sure you ponies have seen a lot of the touching works with her and Dinky, where she is just a mentally impaired mother who does her best. I wanted to hear some discourse on this in a response to those who say anyone who supports the Derpy name and characterization is thereby insensitive or overbearing towards the differently abled. Well, thank you for accepting this topic. Keep on being the best tube radio cult you can be. Signed, Neutral Blue. Also, Pinkie Pie is Beck's pony, and the Ask Pink Mina Diane Pie Tumblr is heart-touching if you give it a try.
Yeah, it's heart-touching when she touches hearts. That's what it is.
Yeah, I don't know what this guy's talking about.
Yeah, it's heart-touching with a knife. So Derpy is a insult to...
Well, okay. And I thought this was an interesting point to bring up because I'm not sure if we've actually covered it all. But I'm going to take it at this one particular point. One, the name is Derpy Hooves. There is a little bit of like, it could. What was the one in Winter Wrap Up that could have been her? I'm trying to remember. Ditsy Doo. If I remember, I think that's right. But that's kind of the go together. But the name for the gray mare with the bubbles and the derpy eyes is Derpy Hooves as given by the production staff. So that is set. As for the question of if it makes fun of the mentally handicapped, this plays into the particular thing of what kind of derpy we're dealing with. Because there are, as somebody once told me, like 6 or 7 types of Derpy Hooves out there with how they characterize her. Because all we have is, hey, she stands in the background, she goes wall-eyed, and her only line ever is muffins.
It's like you said, it's from she's a completely normal pony with a lazy eye, and 2, she's completely off the wall and only lives in her own world. And I think trying to target the whole derpy thing is going about it the wrong way. I mean, when she was put into the show, it was just an animation error that people thought was funny. She's a wall-eyed pony making a scrunchy face. There is nothing implied about that, and people who are trying to imply that are ones with an agenda and looking to grind for a show that really doesn't have a lot of controversy surrounding it. And when she shows up in Feeling Pinky Keen, she has the little wall eyes, and she has accidentally dropped some stuff on Twilight. That's not. I mean, she has a job. It's not like she's completely incompetent or something. She's just, her eyes are a little weird, and maybe she has trouble seeing.
Yeah, I don't really see much of the connection. I mean, I guess she's technically become wall-eyed as a result of the kind of fan contact with the show and them acquiescing to it a little bit. But I don't know. It's an interesting point that the person brings up, and I think it's good that people do bring it up, even if it just is a topic of discussion.
Well, I can see it becoming something where it could go. I mean, you very well could, and there could be ones out there where it does go overboard, where it's just, it really does become kind of making fun of a character. If the characterization really is that she is, she does have some, difficulty. I think for the most part, it's in line with like the silliness of Pinkie Pie, where what she does is sometimes, she might spout off random lines of stuff that doesn't make sense, that, she's just kind of loopy and doing her own thing. But, even if she's kind of out there and a little strange, she's still completely, hey, I'm still doing my thing. I'm still diligent in my work. I'm still a good person. I'm just a little derpy.
I mean, even the main fanon lines you see, either it's Derpy living with Carrot Top, which is some people have latched onto. They're friends, and they have cute interactions. I emptied your fridge, And then you have the whole Derpy as a dedicated male mare who absolutely dotes on her kid and does her best, and she's really good at her job. I mean, I would say that kind of thing, even if shows that a character, even if some people perceive it, can be very good at what they do and are just as capable as other ponies. So it's kind of like, hey, even if Derpy is differently abled in some way, she's just as good as any other pony, and that's a good thing, I would think. But
it's an interesting kind of discussion, because I have thought about it in the past. I mean, I'll admit, I do have a psychology degree, so it is kind of, whenever I can dust it off a little bit and be like, I don't know, maybe you need to make sure you use the right term. It's just like, there is a little bit of stepping on pins and needles, but I think for the most part, one, it's what we've created, so if there's anyone to blame, I point to Hoof at you. And, I think for the most part, that I can see where the controversy can be there. I just don't think the controversy is really there.
Yeah, I think it's a little like, just the term derp, I mean, I guess can be used as kind of a jab at someone with some kind of handicap, but I don't know. My personal opinion, it's such a watered down kind of like, it's just kind of an internet like term. I don't see much in terms of it being used offensively, but again, I'm not someone with as differently abled or something like that, and so I'm not really the one to make a judgment call about it.
I mean, my router derps, so anything can derp. I derp plenty of times. So, there you go. All right, if you wouldn't mind grabbing this next one there, Mr. Roger.
All right. Because the short one. Just for the listeners.
Try and make it a little easy. We've had some people in the past who have taken emails, and I've given big ones, and they've struggled through, so I do kind of soften them a little.
Well, just in case the listeners hadn't noticed, I do have a bit of a bug right now, so my voice is kind of shot. I don't normally sound like I've been smoking for the past 10 years.
Well, that's one of us.
I don't mean to sound like Dr. Girlfriend. But the only thing that makes me really sad is I can't read this letter in my George Takei voice.
Don't worry about it, honey. Just keep going. It's all right.
All right. I've been a listener of your podcast for a while now, and I love it. I'm a younger pony, and I have showed your podcast to many of my friends, and they love it just as much as me. Your faithful listener, Neon. P.S. All ponies are great, but Pinkie Pie is best pony.
Yeah, just a little love there. Just to say, hey, really nice thing that you could drop in there, and there you go. Just a little bit of fan love. Thank you, Neon.
I can understand people saying like a such and such pony is my favorite one, and I totally sympathize. The only pony I can definitely say is not my favorite is Rainbow Dash, because hear me out. Just because my inner hipster kind of kicks in, and like, oh, she already has enough fans. Like, there's already enough people who like her, and not necessarily for the right reasons. But so it's like I'll give it a pass. Like, I can focus my favorite selections on other ones.
I didn't have to even pay him off to say that. There we go.
Deal with it.
He did that on his own terms. Oh, and the Rainbow Dash hate just continues every episode.
Don't get me wrong. She's a fantastic character, and she I guess my number 3. But yeah, as I said, like, she's got enough fans, and Applejack don't get no respect.
She don't. She sure don't.
That's all I'm saying.
She won that race fair and square.
Yeah, anyone who's going to argue the episode is fooling themselves. Yeah. She won. Rainbow Dash is the cheater.
Yeah. Oh.
Well, they tied for last, so.
Yeah, only because some ponies started cheating to begin with. Mm-hmm. Yep. All right, moving on. Let's see. Moving this one is from Lemon. Hello again, Chef Sandy, Apple Cider, and possible guest. I've been listening to your show some more and keep hearing about each of your meetup groups. Have re-listening to the show with Purple Tinker about 3 more times. I'm considering trying my hoof at my own meetup group here in Northwest Arkansas. Sadly, though, I don't know any other bronies around here or even where to start. So I've come to you with a couple of questions. First off, how do you keep your meetups interesting to make people keep coming back? Second, where do you guys usually host your meetups at, like apartments, local coffee shops, etc.? And third, what kind of events and activities do you usually do at your meetups? I thank you once again for reading this email and look forward to more shows. Your fan, Lemon. Chef, what do you do?
Well, unfortunately, I would like to have people over. I'd like to have meets at restaurants. Unfortunately, there are 100 members in the meetup group, and lots of them like to come to as many meets as they can. So on my end, I have to really be careful where I choose, because we could have, and have had, up to like 60 people show up. So I normally host them at places that I know can have that many people. I've done main event. We've done parks. There was a really nice picnic at the 4th Botanic Gardens coming up. We're doing a haunted house meet. One place that's also good is, I don't know if you have them around here, like a Cafe Brazil, a place where you can just sit and have a cafe and chat, have some coffee. That's about where I've done them. If I got to know some other people, some more people better, I could probably see having like smaller meets. But when it's the full open group, because admittedly I'm in a big city, they're not coming over to my house.
Yeah,
it's just too many.
Yeah, I couldn't fit enough in my apartment. We would be kind of maxed out. It'd be like, well, I guess you could sit in the bedroom. Just like, no, not enough room in here. On our end, what I ended up doing at first was I started up the meetup group, and one of the first things I posted was, hey, do you guys have any suggestions of places to run this? And we have a really cool guy, Jesse. Hey, Jesse, who was like, hey, dude, I'm the manager of this restaurant. Why don't you come down and we can, you guys can commandeer a whole bunch of tables. And we did that, and we had 20 people on our first run, and that's turned into our de facto place. We have these events called meet and meets, where, the shop is all barbecue. So we go there and we order, everybody drops in some cash. I order huge plates of barbecue, and everybody just converses, talks. We have a good time. Afterwards, in the same complex right next to it is a Toys R Us and a Target. So immediately afterwards, we hit the Toys R Us and we hit the Target, all and grab as much new pony swag as we can.
Thus depriving all the little girls in your area of toys.
Man, and it is great just seeing. It is just amazing seeing all those people at Toys R Us just going like, do you need gift receipts for that? And all the, nope, not at all. Don't worry about it. It's also really fun to do that because for some who are a little bit more self-conscious about going into a Toys R Us and buying pony toys, it's nice to have just this big wave of people where you go like, dude, what you got? Got a Fluttershy. Oh, yeah. You're just rocking it out with them.
I honestly, I wish the merchandise was better because I have not bought anything pony related. I have stuff given to me, but if someone, just as a word, anyone out there listening, if someone was to make some 28mm miniatures for ponies, I would buy those in a second. I do a lot of tabletop wargaming, so like I would spend money on that so fast. You have no idea.
You get them with ball joints and everything,
I was just like little
articulation.
Little pewter miniatures or plastic or something.
There actually have been. I've seen some people that have done the 2-inch high Warhammer base, 40k base minis of Dash, Fluttershy, and several of the ponies.
That's cool.
And they went for mucho bucks on eBay.
See, that's what we need. Anyone out there, if you've got a 3D printer, get on it.
I know. Hey, I know some pony with a 3D printer. I know how to make money. All right, let's see. So for other suggestions, we recently did a meet at a putt-putt go-kart racing track that went really well. I know that some other ponies here did an event down in Santa Cruz. So they all met and just hung out by the beach, went and hit the boardwalk and everything. I say the best thing is that, I would say first thing you could do if you want to set up a meetup group, and this is just specifically for meetup, I would go to the bronies.com website, tell Purple Tinker, and Purple Tinker will give you a little bit of advice of how to do it. and also tell you how to get a little bit of discount on your first 6 months. It does cost to start up a meetup group, but you can mitigate those costs a little bit by, just knowing the coupon code and how to game meetup just a little bit.
Yeah. Plus, by the time, 6 months rolls around, you'll know whether or not you want to re-up it.
Mm-hmm. So that would be my suggestion. I also am logging in to check out the meetup right now because I need to probably rub our numbers in Chef's Pay. Oh, look, 116. That's doing pretty well. Let me kick Bronies. And let's see. Oh, no, I need national Brony lists.
See, I live in a small college town in literally the middle of nowhere. So the closest thing to a meet we've had was when the new season premiered. I had 14 people at our house.
That's still doing pretty good. I mean, our meets, we get, we have 116, but I think we've had roughly about 20 or so show up. So let's see, I'm showing 116 for Bronies of Northern California, coming in third. And let's see, North Texas Bronies. Hey, you just hit 100. Woo!
Indeed.
Just hit the triple digits, son.
And it's funny because I send these emails. Hey, your group's been around 3 months. By this point, you'll have meets of up to 10 people. I'm like, yeah.
LOL. What?
Oh well.
It's the contagion. It spreads. Every pony's shuffling. So that's very cool. Yeah, just do that. I highly suggest it wherever you're at, and even in your case, Roger, I'd say set up something. And there's been people who've set it up on Rainbow Dash Network. I believe the Atlanta group's on that. I think a few have set it up on Facebook. But yeah, I'd suggest check out Brony's. See if you can get in contact with Purple Tinker. She might have some advice because she is queen bee of this meetup thing.
Yes.
And you set you up. We want every pony to start making friends because I tell you, having a whole bunch of people just geek out about dude, I love Twilight. Hey, check out these buttons I got. It's something so fun. You're sitting there at a table with a whole bunch of food and just talking, and somebody starts putting down all these just figurines. It's just like, this is so wild. This is cool.
My case, it was just it was just like pretty much everyone I knew, everyone in the fencing club, everyone just piled over our house. So it was like champagne and Big Mac themed apple pie and a whole bunch of other stuff.
Mental note, don't get into a sword fight with Roger. Okay, and moving forward, so Chef, what we got next?
Well, that is... Oh, wait, there's another email.
There's another... Derp-a-der, some pony went derp.
Some pony... I'll explain later.
Okay.
I'm here, I promise.
Welcome back to the show, Chef Sandy.
I was playing with Google Maps. Don't judge me.
I judged you already. Now keep going. Got a show to do.
Dear Prince Cider, Prince Sandy, and esteemed guests, I want to thank you for the wonderful inspiration your show has given me to open up my inner Brony to my local friends and family. However, due to my lack of explanation skills, many of them don't necessarily agree with my choice to enjoy such a show given its past reputation. That's not my main focus for this email. So hoping you guys can help spread the word of an open document I've set up on Google Docs where any Brony can express what they love the show, the fan, or what they mean to you and your contributions, or really anything you wish to share. It's similar to the open letter image shared a few months back. Anyways, keep the amazing work of love for us other Bronies up. English. Hopefully I can catch myself up on the rest of the show before this is read. I'm on episode 17 currently. Also, if Lauren Foss did leave to make a Friendship is Magic movie, what would you like to see in it? Anyways, your big long email must end, so I bid you adieu. Your faithful listeners, Skeletor 301 or Lore Venture. P.S. Top ponies are Fluttershy, Luna, Rainbow Dash, Twilight, Pinky, Rarity, and AJ. Yes, I'm a fan of diabetes-inducing arts. The attached image is for you, AC. And
you're my favorite ponies. List every pony on the show.
My favorite ponies are all of them.
By the way, I just linked to a Wikipedia page listing all ponies.
Very subtle there.
So, let's see. So they link to the doc. So, very cool. Just if you want to spread and kind of talk about why you love about the show, that seems cool. So the question there, and I seeded this a while back because I thought it would be a fun thing to do. So Lauren is obviously not working on a Friendship is Magic movie, but if she was working on a full in-theater, future release, full release film, what would you want the plot to be, or what would you like to see in it?
Tim Curry. just throwing that out there. It
doesn't matter, just as long as Tim Curry is in it.
Yeah, that's actually, like, my friends and I have a running theory that Tim Curry is in fact in everything. It's just not always obvious.
Mm-hmm.
Tim Curry as the antagonist. He has to have a couple songs.
Is this
maybe his toxic love?
Is this Rocky Horror Tim Curry, or are we talking more like Home Alone 2 Tim Curry? I mean,
I was thinking like the Muppet Pirate movie Tim Curry.
Oh, okay, all right, that works.
That or David Bowie.
It's always interesting when you just, because you see, whenever he shows up and you see him, it like immediately takes you out. You could be just as engrossed and possible to be like, that's Tim Curry.
He's got that the Christopher Walken.
Let's see that man in drag. Whoa, he's done things. He's popular. So, all right. So, one vote for Tim Curry. I would like to see if they really just went nuts with it. I would like to see something that was on the lines of something silly, crazy, episodic. Like, okay, nowhere as near as crass as it was, but I would like something as silly and as self-referential as like the South Park movie, where it was just like, we're taking this show that usually just does silly little things, and we're just adding this big, crazy, massive plot. Everything's in it, and we're just throwing everything, into this as possible. And it's just going to be a while of just unrelenting madness. Congratulations, you finished. You came through the other end.
And at the very end, Pinky's like, what? You're still here? Congratulations.
You get a cupcake. Please go to the food court to redeem. Wait, huh? She knew this was a movie. Just Pinky at the end. Thanks for coming to the movie. Well, every pony else is just like, who are you talking to, Pinky? Oh, nothing.
It's like those guys out there. Tap, tap.
Oh, God, they know. Run! So, Chef, what? Oh, go ahead.
Maybe they could make like some kind of pony version of Wrath of Khan. That would be awesome. But Ricardo Montalban's dead, so who's going? How is Spot going to die in that?
What does a diamond dog need with a starship?
So, okay, Chef, what would you do in the movie, huh?
I would say probably it would have to be just an extended slice of life thing. I would think almost Futurama movie style, where it was more like 4 episodes stuck together. Mm-hmm. That there was sort of a coherent story throughout it, but you could segment it into 4 episodes if you wanted to. That would be pretty cool. And it would still be about 90 minutes long.
So you're thinking like two-parters kind of, or, just something that would be 4-parters just kind of tacked together.
Do like a 4-parter story with a higher budget and just go to town. That would be cool.
Yeah, God. Hey, God. Dear members of Studio B, if you are listening to this, we would like a full feature movie. Could you find some time between your insane schedule to get one done? Kisses, Apple Cider.
Yes.
I'm sure they'll get right on that. Okay, well, I think that works. Thank every pony who wrote in. That's super cool. I have a list of, speaking of super cool ponies, we have a list here of 5-star iTunes bronies right now on the U.S. store, clocking in at 241 ratings when I put this down. And I have a little specialness here. So I want to send much thanks to Michael Carney, The Real Fez Shady, Smiley Face Cool Smiley Face, Stormy Seas, WJ Mill, Steam Jet 321, Velociraptor, yeah. She talking, yeah. Dead Jester 422, Near Mellow, John Jeter, Idogus 1, the fifth fan kitten, and all the other super cool iTunes reviewers on the other stores, which I'm starting to talk about. Like this week, it's Canada time. They took my hockey team, but they can't take these awesome reviews. Orange Fox, Synthiz, Silver Mink, XO, Canada XO, Your Faithful Student, James Hiller, Brandon Glass, Air Guitar, Color, Niji Splash, Alexander Stevens, Jeremy Mills, and Element of Chaos 7. Thank you very much for leaving us iTunes reviews on any of the stores. We'll start talking about you, but keep them coming. They're awesome.
Yay! Canada has internet.
I believe they've had that for some time now.
Oh, okay.
They had to thaw it out. Had to make sure that they could get it so that the moose wouldn't eat it. Blasted moose. Okay, and that wraps us up towards the end of the show, but at the end of the show, we have to talk about our one cool thing, the one thing that we found on the internet that we thought was pretty cool, and we want to go ahead and bring up to you. I only listed one, but I'm going to have to add the second one in a little bit later. So there's two things that I thought that were cool this week. The first one is this really cool animation called Peckish Pony 2, which is a play off of Rhythm Heaven. There is a game called, I believe, Peckish Monk or something like that, but it's a rhythm game on the DS, and somebody made a ponified version of it, and it is just probably about 2.5 minutes of just insane, silly music with Pinky eating all the food and Twilight in the background not being very successful at what she does. So I love that. The second thing, which I will link to, is my girlfriend Starry Night has been taking commissions and doing pony stuff. She did do commissions and art books for the marathon that we had going, and we finally have the sketchbooks done. You can find those always over at her DA as Saber Kitten or Saber Kitty. Let's see, and she recently got done with the a Fluttershy and Celestial book, and she's also has a she also just came out with one with our other commissioner, which is a full like main cast on the front with Luna and Celestia on the back. Let's see, I can drop this in here so that you guys can take a look. While Chef is obviously talking about his important, very one cool thing. But yeah, you should probably go check those out because they're cool.
My one cool thing for this week is a PMV. Discord makes good girls go bad. Done by Roxy Girl 4146. It is Discord making all the good little pony girls go bad in episode 1 and 2, and it's really quite good. And even the song makes a little sense. See you hanging there with your 5 best friends. There you go. There's 6 of them.
It's like they made the song for it.
Yeah, totally.
All right. Well, that works. And Roger, what do you got for us?
All right. Well, this is my moment for partially self-promotion. My one cool thing is I'm going to want to tell everyone about mlponies.com. And we've also known as the Pony Goons Forum. And I think you've made the people that we've been mentioned before. And if you've seen us around, but we are a traditional forum, message board instead of a message board kind of thing. But we're a traditional forum for MLP discussion, and we are the home base for a lot of really awesome artists and people producing all sorts of cool stuff. I kind of got my start running my Savage World stuff on the forum, or just not running on it, but organizing. But it's a forum, and we formed originally as a group of diaspora from the somethingawful.com forums after they had their big pony purge.
I didn't see that coming.
Well, it's not necessarily a very friendly place for pony fans at the moment.
I don't think it's a very friendly place anyway.
Well, either way, the ML ponies, it's not just for Something Awful people. It's for anyone who wants to come. We're a forum for higher quality discussion. It's a great community. It's lots of people. We love people to come by and contribute. There's fan art, all sorts of discussions. It's great. No trolls, jerks, or hard chargers allowed. Just letting that out.
Yeah, read the rules.
Yes, we do our rules we do abide by them, but it just ensures everything moves smoothly. But yeah, it's a great community. We encourage you to check it out. This is saying we are kind of home base for several artists. If you've seen Top Shot, or is his name Pony Shot on DeviantArt, and he was the one who narrowly came in second place for the first We Love Fine contest.
Yeah.
And just to saying, I think he should have won. But what happened? We ended up raising our own cash prize for him, and it was a big celebration and thanks to him. And he got a message from Lauren Faust herself saying, "Yeah, you should have won." And she apparently bought one of his falling pony T-shirts.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Big accolades.
That was a cool. Sure that we had mentioned y'all before when that happened, and that was a cool thumbs up thing.
Yeah,
and of course I said that ponies don't have thumbs. I'm an Earth pony. Oh God.
There's plenty. I was saying I've already kind of I don't want to leave anyone out because there are a lot of awesome artists. The artists you may have seen. He goes by Kefka Floyd on DeviantArt. Very very cool fan artist. He does a lot of kind of parody pastiches of World War II propaganda and old classic rock album covers. His art is awesome, and he's a great artist because he's very technical, like technical accuracy. His pieces just look great. You should check it out. But so yeah, it's a great community for anyone who wants to come by and post everything. We have pretty much, it's a safe place for everyone, whoever you are, as long as you abide by the rules, and they're very reasonable. But that's my one cool thing. Please come on, check us out.
A safe place for ponies to play.
It's Energy Park.
Oh, dude, awesome.
We do not have the amazing Rondo. I'm sorry.
He constructs Bronyville with his very mind. Yeah. We don't know. All right, we gotta stop this because now that I know it's going to just disintegrate into a whole bunch of MST3K quotes, and we just we can't do this. I literally can quote that whole movie. So I want to thank you very much there, Roger, for joining us on the show. Great to have you on to talk about everything, and we had a good time. I've had a really fun time.
It's my pleasure. I'm very happy to have done this.
All right. Good to have you on. Always want to thank Chef for being a great co-host as always.
Yeah, I'm helping.
You really are when you realize you're doing a show, honey. All right. And also, I always want to thank our really awesome fans. You guys give us so much love. You make us do this show week in and week out because you guys we can tell by the numbers and we can tell by the emails that you guys really do love us and we love doing this show. So if you want to get in contact with us, as said before, you can go over to bronyville@gmail.com if you want to send us an email. If you want to check out our webpage, where we post the shows and have all the neatness, you can do that at bronyshow.com. If you want to get in contact with us in some other ways, we both have some of those crazy Twitters. Mine happens to be Bronyville.
And mine is Chef Sandy.
Hey, what do you know? We do have a Google Plus that just hit, 200 followers today? So if you want to follow on Google Plus, we've got it as a Bronyville podcast on there. And did that. Leave us iTunes reviews. We'll say your name, and that's really cool. And that will do the show. All right, every pony, thank you very much for listening. We'll be back next week with more Crazy Pony. And sleep well, every pony.
Keep fighting the good fight.
Adios.